Good morning and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am DM Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video I'm going to be talking about Lego's new set, the Red Dragon's Tale. This is their homage to the 50th anniversary of Dungeons & Dragons, and this set was released on April 1st. At a price tag of $360. So obviously with tax, or depending on your locale, it's going to go probably closer to $390 to even $400. And I've taken a look at several of the reviews, and particularly I wanted to look at the reviews coming from Lego collectors, more so than Dungeons & Dragons players or the OSR, which is old school role players and old school gaming, where I clearly place myself into that particular circle of the tabletop role-playing hobby. And looking at the reviews from Lego collectors, uniformly, and I've looked at several different channels, they all came out and they said that this set was two things. Positive, it is an excellent set. I mean, well crafted, a lot of little hidden gems within this set itself. A lot of thought went into the display pieces and such, so it is a high quality set. The criticisms was almost also uniform. Too expensive. Too expensive for what you're actually getting. Its footprint is smaller than others. It's that $360 price tag is is something that now the super collectors, those that get these sets as part of their hobby, they're certainly going to buy this. That's without a doubt. But for your casual that doesn't really collect Lego, or your even your most devout Dungeons and Dragons player, they're going to buy this, but they're going to buy this potentially for a different purpose than actually using it for gameplay. They're going to buy this to put it on their shelf. Much as you see behind me, I have a lot of little knickknacks and things like that that are kind of adjacent to the hobby, but it's not like I'm actually using them for gameplay. And I think that this is similar to that purpose. Excuse me. Where it's just a presentation piece that you're going to put on your shelf, for people to see along with the rest of your actual gameplay, your gameplay materials, books and dice and so on. So at the $360 level, I don't find that for myself. This is a, true connection to what I need. And I can think of as an OSR, an independent supporter in the tabletop role-playing hobby. I, of course, see a better alternative for myself, and I suggest for many others you might want to consider this. So that's my first thing about it, and the first reason why I would not buy this at, certainly not at the $360 price point, not even at the $300 price point, and probably not even at half that, So I wouldn't even go in on this at $150, even though I'm I have no real intention of purchasing this regardless. And I'll go into details as to why that is as well. Primarily, I do not have a single Lego piece in my entire home. I haven't had a Lego set since I was a kid, probably going back to, 1980 to 82, going back that far. My own children have never grown up with Lego as something that they played with. So I literally do not have a single Lego in my entire home and haven't for many, many decades. So that's the primary reason is I'm just not a Lego collector. The second reason, and it goes to my perception of of how WotC handles this IP, and I'm going to go to I'm going to go to the actual adventure document that they don't actually include with the game, right, or with the Lego set. From my understanding, from watching other Lego-centric YouTube channels, you have to pay something like 2,600 Lego points, which are like kind of loyalty points, in order to get the paper copy, the physical copy of A Dragon's Tale, the Lego Adventure. So it's not even included in this, much perceived overpriced product to begin with. So that's something that I really felt is kind of a missed opportunity to have it just included in there. The other thing is that in order to get a copy of the PDF, which is free, but you'd have to log in and potentially already have an account. Doesn't have to be a paid account, which I certainly don't have with D&D Beyond, but you can get the free PDF at D&D Beyond without paying for it. And, which I did download it just for the purposes of this video. And so you have to go there. And to me, that's a very cynical thing that, Wizards of the Coast is doing to say, hey, you know what? If we can convince them to come to D&D Beyond, then we can, maybe they'll register and maybe they will then start paying a subscription for this, assuming that anyone who buys the Lego set will then start playing D&D 5th edition, which goes to my next problem with this, and I will get to the PDF itself where I point this out. So without further ado, let's shift over to the PDF, and I'm going to make sure that I'm on the correct page before I do that. Okay, so here we go. So here is the PDF. It's a 20-page PDF. Again, it was free. Dungeons and Dragons, Red Dragon's Tale, a Lego adventure. And so here you go. Other than this logo up here, there is nothing. This is a Lego product. And so they make that very clear here. Now I want to go to the credits. So here are the Wizards of the Coast people. The product lead is Kyle Brink. And if you're not familiar with who Kyle Brink is a middle-aged white male who said back in January or February of 2023, when there was the entire explosion of chaos caused by the OGL crisis, Kyle Brink came out as kind of like a PR tour, going to various YouTube channels that were typically favorable towards Wizards of the Coast, and basically said that men that, or people that look like him, in other words, the middle-aged white male, cannot get out of the hobby fast enough, in his opinion. And yet here he still is. So obviously that didn't apply to him. Here's the adventure designer, Christopher Perkins, who that obviously didn't apply to him either, and so on. So you have the two product leads and the adventure designer are the very category of persons that Kyle Brink said cannot get out of the hobby fast enough. So, please excuse me if I refuse to buy a product that they're pushing, when Kyle Brink has said something along that nature. I then continue on, and it goes to the Lego group, and the Lego group's their creative team, their marketing manager, and their project management. It says Dungeons and Dragons is a D&D, is its logo, D&D Player's Handbook, Dungeon Master's Guide, and Monster Manual, all copyrighted by Wizards of the Coast 2024, and then Lego, obviously, and its logo and its minifigs are trademarks of the Lego Group 2024. Now, the other thing I want to point out here that it does not mention at all, and there is no, that's the one thing with their PDFs, they don't scroll very well. So let's go here. Dungeons and Dragons Red Dragon's Tale is an adventure that accompanied this Lego idea set of the same name. To play this adventure, you need one person to be a dungeon master, and so on and so forth. There is no context for this product placed whatsoever. No mention that it is a celebration of the 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons. No mention that the product is the product was derived from a contest, and a contest winner who submitted a very, very similar looking set, and this was the way that Lego wanted to pay an homage to the 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons. No mention of that here whatsoever. All right, and once again, it just strikes me as Wizards of the Coast in this modern time, all right, with this particular staff of writers and creators and executives at Wizards of the Coast, no recognition whatsoever of the 50-year legacy of Dungeons and Dragons. No thank you written in here to Lego, a competitor, a toy manufacturer and competitor to Hasbro, licensing the ability to create this set. And then, so no recognition of that, no thank you for that. It is just another instance of Wizards of the Coast basically practicing, the stolen valor of recognizing not the 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons, but just simply recognizing their own small part in that timeline, all right, by making this a largely 5e adventure. I mean, it is no mention that this is compatible with any edition of Dungeons and Dragons. Even though it has, the creatures that go all the way back to its inception, so going all the way back to 1974, but no recognition of that whatsoever. And when they get to the character builds, they are clearly based on just the 5th edition. And like I said, no mention of how this can fit into any D&D structure, so of any edition. Without D&D rules, so they do allow for for you to use a set without Dungeons and Dragons rules completely, but here we have, all of the characters and such. So that's the first thing that I really, I really pointed out or looked to point out was that this is not a true homage to the 50-year celebration of Dungeons and Dragons from Wizards of the Coast. All right, it certainly was from Lego, you know, and so here you have Lego giving a better homage to the 50th anniversary than Wizards of the Coast, the unfortunate IP holder of Dungeons and Dragons. The second thing I wanted to bring up is that there are, I would say, probably just, or there is, or possibly are a few people who are touting this as the wave of the future. All right, for actually running Dungeons and Dragons, that you're going to replace WizKids and and other 28 millimeter figures that you're using at your table, and whether it be Dwarven Forge scenery and setting pieces and such, that this is going to replace that. And again, I want to point out that there is nothing that indicates from Lego that this is anything more than just a one and done. All right, just a single homage to Dungeons and Dragons, and due to its 50th anniversary. And this was always advertised as a limited run, so it is not going to go beyond the sale of this set for a limited time frame. And the way I draw that conclusion is I look at how this set is actually categorized on the Lego storefront. So I am going to switch views again and make sure that we are looking at the same thing here. And so here we go. So when you go into the shop of Lego, the Lego shop, and you click on Sets by Theme, you will not see Dungeons and Dragons listed here. They have themes of Batman, a botanical selection. You have Brickheads, you have other main IPs, right? So you have Jurassic World, you have Avatar, you have Peppa Pig. I'm not familiar with Gabby's Dollhouse, but Indiana Jones, Super Mario, Lord of the Rings, Marvel, Minecraft. We have a variety of minifigs, I guess Sonic the Hedgehog, Spider-Man, Star Wars. So you don't see D&D here, which tells me you also have Disney and DC. I skipped over those. You do not see Dungeons and Dragons here. Where you find this set is you will find this set not in the themes, but you will find this under ideas. And this is where you find it. Ideas. $359.99. A 3.8 rating overall is not a very good rating. 3.8 out of 5 is pretty darn mediocre. And it's the first time that I'm looking at it, and I like to see what's the cause of this rating. So let's see. Only 9 reviews. All right, so only 9 reviews, but an average of 3.8. And let's see. 3 of them are 1 star. Let's see what these 1-star ratings are. Great set, poor service from Lego. All right, so that's a Lego issue. Absolutely horrible release on Lego's part. Absolutely love the set, the build. The most important, I love D&D. What I don't love is that Lego's lack of education on how to do a proper release. All right, so these are all slams on Lego itself. So for some reason, they had an issue with the release. Let's see the 2 Great set, poor service from Lego again. No, that's still the one. That's still the 1-star review. Uh, oh, let's see the 2-star reviews. I can't. That's weird. So here's the. It's not working that well. Or not translating as well. So anyway, like I said, I didn't notice those reviews anyway. But overall, it's a 3.8 review, which is not very, very good coming out of, especially not at that price point as well. So, but this is the overall point I wanted to make here, was that it is not listed as an ongoing theme. So it is a one and done. So that's the next step in why I'm, leaning away from it. Number one, I'm not a Lego collector. And so, but they really get to the point of, this was either, and there we saw that, it either wasn't rolled out well, and I don't quite see how that is. I mean, it was announced, so those just might be individual issues where they had trouble getting it. But again, I'm not a Lego collector. But let's look at that price point again. All right, so 360. So another YouTuber out there was like, oh, you know what? The OSR is against this item solely because. And then went into this little thing that, we're against this solely because we, we don't want to give credit to Wizards of the Coast or whatever. We have multiple reasons why, and I personally have several reasons why I'm not going to buy this set. All right, the first reason is that I'm not a Lego collector. All right, the second reason is that, yes, the price point at $360 to me is not a good expenditure of my dollars. As a avid collector and user of tabletop role-playing games out there, and I have a huge collection behind me that some of those items far exceed the cost of this. My OD&D white box back there was nearly twice as much as this when I combined everything together. It's still not something that I would spend that $360 on. So I said, well, if I wanted to make a case for that, what would I personally look to purchase for that same amount of money or thereabouts, or even less so, and get more bang for my dollar as an OSR independent gamer. And so here we go. I've been talking on my channel now for quite some time about wanting to collect a lot of starter kits, and then I see that these starter kits or these starter sets are a great way to introduce new players to a variety of different games, and they're great for convention play and everything. So with the $360 price tag in mind, I started looking for starter sets, and I found that I could get all 8 of these starter sets, which come with the basic rules and a whole bunch of little, character sheets and dice in many cases, and cards that could be handed out, and all kinds of side products and everything. If you've been watching my videos on how to display a table for a convention, you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, and so all of these 8 different game systems, all right, variety of different genres from a number of different companies, although several are from Free League or Modifius or and whatnot. Um, but when you go to that, when I tallied these up, $292.15. Now, I'll leave room for $68 in shipping and handling for a few that might not have been through Amazon, where I get free shipping and handling. But for the most part, I mean, do I spend $360 on something that is going to sit on a shelf um, and represents only one game, or do I spend $292.15, possibly with another, let's say, $50 shipping and handling attached to it, so bringing it up to that same cost. Um, and now I have 8 different game systems to mess around with, to run at a convention, or to play with my player group, or just to read for learning about different types of game systems that are out there. And some of these are hugely popular. Many of them are award-winning game systems out there. And again, I know it's kind of heavy on Free League and Modifius. Those are two of my, my favorite, two of my favorite independent companies out there. There's also Troll Lord Games. I didn't put any box set that I already own up here as well. So you could actually probably adjust the cost by swapping some of these out. I mean, Zweihander, which, I'm not a big fan of its creator, but at $17.36, that's a low price point to pick up on a starter kit. Then Fallout was $29.36 on Amazon. Pendragon was $24.99. Alien RPG was the more expensive of them at $50.38. Forbidden Lands was on Amazon for $44.13, a lot less than the $58.81 that it was on Free League. And plus you'd save on shipping and handling as well. Twilight 2000 was $46 even, compared to, again, $58.81 on Free League's website. Then we go to Achtung Cthulhu, which was $36.96 or so on, again, on eBay, not from Modifius in that case, which was $42.25. And then finally, the Dragonborn Core box set, which was $32.93 as opposed to $42.97. So about a $10 savings there, getting it from Amazon. So, when I say most of those are coming directly from Amazon, so you don't even have the shipping and handling cost. Then you can see, I can clearly, if you are an OSR independent, game master, or just a collector or a gamer that you want to introduce yourself to a wide variety of different game systems, then this is a much better bang for your buck than buying a Lego playset that is most likely going to sit at your shelf and is very really limited by the pieces that come with it. As nice as the set is, and I'm not denying that it's not a nice looking set, how often are you going to have a red dragon, a beholder, a gelatinous cube, a displacer beast, some skeletons in your game? I mean, it's not something that's going to keep on coming up and over and over again. So it's very, very limited as to what they're giving you for that price point. So that's my key thing there. If you're a Lego collector, obviously you're going to want this in your set. If you're a Dungeon Master, you're a D&D fan, this is really only catering to, um, 5e. As far as the adventure is written, no mention that this is even compatible with older editions of Dungeons and Dragons, even though it is. I mean, you can make it, but you're very, very limited in what you're going to be presenting to your players. And so ultimately, I would have to agree with that overall review of the set is that it's a best of 4 out of 5 as far as sets are concerned. The adventure, I think, is very limited, and I didn't want to spoil it. But if you read the summary of the adventure, it's it's very, very simplistic. And, I understand that they're probably writing that for young children to actually read, but young children are not the target audience for this set, and Dungeons and Dragons, the role playing game is not really a young children's target audience, or targeted product either. So, and I think that's where Wizards of the Coast really does struggle with, targeting its real consumer rather than some kind of trying to do this calculation, thinking that they're going to get very young players to actually play 5th edition or D&D 2024, and they really don't care about anyone playing older editions of Dungeons and Dragons. So I'm going to leave it there. I think that overall, great looking set, too costly, and you can find much better alternatives to bring more variety and and more quality product as far as the adventure writing is concerned to your table as an OSR or independent game master. You all have a great day. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sure that some will attack this video or whatever. Leave your comments in there. I welcome all comments, whether they agree with me or disagree with me. And you all have a great day. Take care.